Here comes to another episode of My Life Talk Show. Fintech Consultancy has attempted to check how different individuals of our nation coped up their lives during the pandemic situation of COVID 19. So today I have with me Mr. Prasanna, founder, managing director of Saaraketha Hodings. Very good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Rochelle.
And how are you this morning, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Right. So, we'll move on to the question straight away. I just don't want to waste your time. So my first question will be, what was your initial reaction? You know, when you just heard that curfew is going to be imposed and there will be a shutdown in the country. So this is something that which we have never experienced in our lives.
So for us too, as for many other people, it was a surprise. It took us by surprise. Uh, Fortunately for us, we had a process in-house that allowed us to take advantage of this and cater to consumers who were affected by the pandemic and the lockdown and the curfew situation. Um, we are more focused as an export company. It impacted our export sales with almost zero export sales due to flight restrictions and all of the global shutdown that was experienced all over. But then we had to be versatile and adapt to the situation. And fortunately for us, as being classified as an essential service where we were dealing with food solutions, people required our support during the lockdown for their day-to-day needs. But for us, what was challenging was the volume that we needed to deal with. We had an e-commerce portal that traditionally dealt with about a base of 100 customers that we serviced during a week on 2 designated days. And immediately on the day of the first lockdown, around the 20th or the 21st of March, we experienced this going up to about 2,000 customers wanting our services every day. This was a huge surge, huge jump, and we needed to be able to be versatile and manage that. That was our challenge. And thankfully, we were able to overcome the learning curve and manage it during that process amidst a insurmountable amount of logistics and other restrictions that were normal for the country.
Right. So I'm happy to hear that y'all were able to cater the needs of the people in the society, as their first need was food during the lockdown period. Right. So in terms of digitization, Ms. Prasanna, so how well do you think your company was equipped?
Fortunately for us, we are a forward-thinking company. We had quite a few digital tools that we leveraged even before the lockdown. So that served us well. All our communication was on electronic medium. We were leveraging a lot of digital tools for our marketing, as well as remote management of our supply chains, etc. Um, so the only thing that changed was the physical meetings and day-to-day contact perspective that we had to manage. Where our teams, some of them had to work from home. So we leveraged digital tools that we were equipped with, like Google Meet, and we were anyway on cloud servers through a G Suite subscription. So that was very supportive because we were not dependent on local hardware. We were more on the cloud, and that helped us to be much more versatile and agile.
Right. Okay. So uh, it's actually devastating to see how many businesses they have impact in a negative way due to this pandemic situation. So Saaraketha Organics, how do you think it has affected Saaraketha?
To be honest, as all other businesses, it has affected us too. But I believe it's all about the mindset. It's easy for us to complain and be negative about the state of play. But I think what is important is for leadership and management to take a hold of the situation, evaluate options, and be creative in how you face crisis. Because this is no different to large, small, local, global. Everybody is facing this challenge. So for us, uh, 80% of our revenues came from exports, and overnight it went to zero. So if I were to tell you, did it impact us? Yes, it did. It impacted us seriously. It impacted us so tremendously that we could say that we would have been decimated as a business. But we looked at a creative alternate and uh, optimized on the local opportunity that presented itself and the more online presence that helped us to support the local consumers and to balance it out. So you have to be creative in these situations. We need to look at how we manage costs, look at overheads, and being agile and robust is important. And always, when one door closes, there is another window that opens. That is my philosophy in business. So I believe all businesses that are affected will have ways out of this. Some, it may be more challenging, but it's about how creative you are in looking at solutions, because we cannot be spreading doom and gloom. This is not the end of the world. Life has to go on, and the life as we know it may have changed, but we need to go on, and we need to be optimistic. We need to see how we contribute to bring about a difference to whatever we do in our lives.
Right. So that is your idea. Right. So now, after the lockdown, things are getting back to normal and the momentum has already started to pick up. But then again, suddenly we get to hear about a second wave that is going to hit. So, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, will there be a lockdown again?
From a Sri Lankan context, I believe that perhaps a nationwide lockdown like we experienced may not be happening in the immediate future because of all of the other contexts that we need to look at. We have election that is coming up. I believe for obvious reasons we may not see a national lockdown, but in my opinion, there is bound to be some sort of regional lockdowns and pocket lockdowns that will happen in the days we see. There is certainly a second wave coming. This is not going to be just the second wave. I believe that for the next 18 to 24 months, the world over will see a resurgence from time to time. And it's about how we cope with it and manage with it, and how we adapt and change our business models to navigate this changed economic perspective.
Right. Okay. So, as the founder, managing director of Saaraketha Organics, a greater responsibility lies on your shoulders. What are the best health practices or measures that have been taken at your organization?
I think we were one of the first to recognize that we needed to give the consumer, customers, an assurance. And this is something we have been working on all along. We are the only company that has traceability of our product right down to the source of origin, where the product can be a consumer can identify a product that she or he buys right down to the farmer who produced it, the GPS location of the farm, and all of the other variables of the value chain. So this has been in place, again, a digital tool that we use called Tracefied, which helps us to give that credibility. But what we did differently was to also ensure that from the source of origin right to the consumer, we introduced safe, sanitized, zero contact processes that allowed us to pass on this assurance that the product that we give a consumer or a customer is completely contact free. So our employees, we worked 24/7 during the lockdown. We had to ensure their safety,
True.
introducing additional welfare measures like providing them transport, managing their meals, taking care of them, introducing sanitization and control contact measures, also contact tracing for all of our staff, uh, which we stringently adhere to this day and will continue from henceforth, which will be a norm in our organization, is a key differentiator. So we deal with food, and people need to be assured, and we've gone beyond any norm that exists in the country to pass on this confidence, pass on this credibility transparently to all who decide to use our solutions.
Right. Okay. So good to hear all these things from you, Mr. Prasanna. So before we wrap things up, let's move on to the final question. So there is a drastic drop in the economy, right? So what is your personal idea in order to have a total recovery? How long do you think this will take?
I think if you were to look at reality, in my opinion, in terms of the traditional economy that we knew, we would perhaps not recover it in the next 24 months or so. It'll take a couple of years, in my opinion. But then the flip side of the coin is that is, if we only stay in that box and look at that traditional economy. I believe this is a blessing in disguise for us to look inward. This global village concept, in my mind, has been disrupted. So now we are looking at a disrupted model of business, and we need to be disruptors in this. This, for me, is the silver lining in the dark cloud, where the national economy, the local production, the local services, the local entrepreneurs can look at import substitution, other mechanisms that we were so reliant on, not necessarily being the model for the future. So I believe this could be actually a disruptive opportunity for us to design a new economy. So to restate, the economy as we knew it may never be recovered or may take a very long time, but we need not focus on the economy as we knew it. We could carve out a new model for ourselves, which I believe can even be better. And this could be the opportunity to turn around the country and look at a very different set of matrices, which we have not traditionally looked at.
Right. Okay. So these are the thoughts from the co-founder of Saaraketha Organics. So, Mr. Prasanna, thank you so much for sharing your ideas and giving me this, sharing your precious time. And thank you so much for joining with me today. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. Thank you, Trishelle. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you very much.
Thank you.